Hey everybody, you're joined here for a very special flower hour. We're doing something a little bit different in my podcast this week, this month, however long this goes on for. I'm joined here by Aminata, a contestant
Hi.
from the All African Colours England competition, part of the Miss England competition. And I'm really excited to have you on as my first interviewee that we're going to be speaking about why you've entered the contest, what you're passionate about, and just you as a person. And I think it's so important for us as individuals to see that models or anyone who's in a beauty contest is more than just pretty or more than just beautiful. You have substance behind you. So how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. I'm actually quite excited for this interview. I've been looking forward to it. So thank you for having me on.
Anytime, because I know the world's dealing with COVID in a very strange way at the moment, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we all feel, or I'd like to think that most people feel kind of enclosed in at the moment, and it's all about sort of coping with the space that you have. I've definitely been having to adjust with the way I've been working, with the way I kind of like have to deal with my family. I've got a big family, and so it's all about like managing that space and negotiating time to spend together and time alone as well. So
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think COVID's probably shaken the way that the contest has gone. And how have you found you've been able to deal with that?
Oh yeah, I mean normally it would have been kind of in person, and I'm based in the north of England, so the northwest of England, and pretty much I think most people are based in the south. So I would have had to kind of gone traveling up and down down the country to get there. But it means now everything's kind of here, and it's virtual. It does make things harder because I've not met any of the girls. I've not met any of my sisters yet. I hope I will meet them in London on the 12th when the finale is. So hopefully I'll meet them then. But so far I've not met anyone. I've not met the people, the admin team, the managers, or anything like that. So
Mm.
it's all kind of just Zoom, really.
Absolutely. What inspired you to join the competition, most importantly? Because I suppose whenever we think about contests, it's not easy. There's a lot of people that got through, and you've got through out of probably hundreds of people. So what inspired you?
Well, I think this competition is quite special because it's the first heat that Miss England it has hosted for women of color. So it is quite special and unique in that sense. And it also happened at a very special time. It happened at the time when the Black Lives Matter movement was kind of not erupting, but resurging. And a lot of people were saying a lot of powerful things. We needed to reform the systems. We needed change, really, not just for ourselves, but for the sake of society to kind of operate in a way that would be, I guess, equal and give people an equal opportunity to kind of stand as one, and not just kind of like one's here and the other people are down there. So
Yeah.
I think I the reason why I joined is because I really needed to, like, I wanted to be a part of the change. I was a part of organizing protests in my hometown for the Black Lives Matter movement when it was happening. So it's very, very passionate, but also because I do want representation. I feel like representation is something that we have lacked for so long. And when this opportunity came up, I was like grabbed it with both hands. I was like, it needs to happen. I want to see change, and I cannot wait for other people to be making that change for me. I have to like be a part of the people who make history. And this is what it's all about. It's making history within Miss England. It's making history within Britain to kind of go, Black people do have a voice. Black people are beautiful. All people are beautiful. All women of shapes and sizes are all beautiful. And this competition is literally that. We've got women of different heritage. We've got women of different sizes. We've got women of different ages, different intellects as well, different passions. And so I just think it's so beautiful. It's not about like, it's not about being all beautiful, because I don't consider myself to be the most beautiful girl ever, but I do consider myself to be a person that can represent where I come from very well. And it's all about that for me. It's all about representation, and making sure the next girl after me can go, well, Aminata did that, and so can I. So it's all about changing history from now on. And that's why I joined. Sorry, it's a
And
long-winded answer.
and where did your passion come from to represent, I suppose, your background, and most importantly, where have you grown up and how has it built you to become the person that you are today?
Well, I think it's good to mention, like, I was a refugee when I arrived in the UK. So I came from Senegal. My family's from the north of Africa. They came from Mauritania, hence why we're refugees. Senegal, luckily, is quite a peaceful country, hasn't had any troubles in like maybe 40 years now, so it's pretty good in that sense. But where they've come from has had a lot of struggle, and that's the reason why we were here. And so I think for me, seeing, you know, seeing a person that like, being that person that can be like, look, I've gone through a certain amount of struggles. I've come from a background that when I arrived in the UK, I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know how to read or write. So it's like like overcoming the odds, basically. I think I'm not unique. I am literally like every other girl that is, you know, at the border waiting for someone to take them in. I'm literally just someone that has worked hard. So I don't see myself any separate to anybody. I don't believe that I have anything that anybody else doesn't have, other than opportunities and the privilege to be in a place where I'm afforded those opportunities to do well for myself. And so it's a matter of going, if you give people the chance to actually you know, reach their potential, they could actually do well with themselves. And that's what I want people to realize. And most importantly, if you can make the governments and the people and the world leaders actually realize that if you let these people in, refugees and asylum seekers, these people don't leave their homes to come here to cause trouble. They leave their homes because something severe has caused them to move and migrate. And if you give them the chance, they could achieve so much more. I mean, I achieved a first class honors in my undergrad degree, and I was so happy with that. That's something that I wouldn't have been able to achieve had I not been given those opportunities. So just think of the next lot of girls and boys that are waiting to be taken in, that could achieve so much more with the opportunities that we have here. So yeah.
And do you find with being in the competition that it's allowed you to have even more opportunities? And in regards to, you know, your background, you know, you said that you're a refugee, you came from Senegal and your family from Mauritania as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a part of you that feels like, do you feel a little bit, I suppose, saddened by the fact you were given such a great opportunity? You were able to come to the UK, and there were others that, as we both would agree, are not afforded those chances and opportunity. And then you've got all this talent that is that is almost wasted in some senses. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that?
I feel like very sad, because I think like I don't, you know, like I said before, I'm not special. I'm just privileged to be given a chance that many others haven't been able to be given. So I feel very sad about that. And if I could literally change, you know, their situations, I would. And I feel like this platform gives me, the All African Colours platform gives me the opportunity to talk about those issues, to talk about how I feel about it, and also to state facts as well. And tell everybody what it's like and what it could be like if we changed our minds and if policies were different. So I feel very saddened and very disappointed, because I feel like, you know, like you said, it is wasted talent. It is wasted youth, really. You know, a lot of those kids could be doing so much more with their lives than just being in a position where they aren't able to kind of help themselves. Because I feel like all they need is the chance, and they need to be given the opportunities and the platform to kind of stand on. So yeah, quite sad.
Hearing you speak about it, it begs me to ask the question, do you remember your childhood, and could you describe what your childhood was like?
Now, yeah, I can remember my childhood. I think it's one of those things where you choose to put at the, like, oh, it says my internet's unstable, but hopefully you can still hear me. I think for me, when I think about my childhood, I don't remember my childhood in the UK, and I don't particularly remember a great deal of my childhood in Senegal, mainly because I sometimes I choose not to. Like I maybe can't, like, you know, just put them in little boxes. But I think it was definitely very hot. Like, you know, environmentally it was really, really hot a lot of the times. um it was also good, you know, even though despite the fact that I came from a difficult and challenging environment that many people maybe haven't ever had the chance to experience. It was also surrounded by a lot of family, which you know, like my grandparents and stuff were there, which I don't have here. But yeah, I think it was clustered.
Mm.
Clustered and warm, and but also filled with a lot of people that were familiar to me, which I feel like helps. So yeah, that's how I would describe it. Definitely.
And then,
Definitely something that you kind of have to like live day by
yeah.
day kind of thing. You don't live to plan, you just live to survive kind of thing. It's more like, yeah, we're just seeing how it goes kind of thing, you know?
But then that's so interesting, because I find some people typically when they're in certain environments, as you said, maybe claustrophobic in some senses, you live for the day, you don't live for the future. How have you
Mhm.
been able to map your future out when perhaps your environment didn't allow you to have that sort of, you know, projection? How were you able to build that?
I think for me, I had a very also like in where I come from, your future in many ways is planned out for you. You know, you are gonna get married by a certain age. You are the person you're getting married to is pretty much already decided. So it's like those things, you know, those things which I feel perhaps you don't, as a child I didn't really have to think about that because that was already like pre-decided for me. So it's, again, it's something that is different now because it's not the case, you know. It's I have the opportunity to plan, whereas then it was like, you know where you're going in about 10 years time, where you're gonna be married with kids kind of thing. That's like your future. But I'm glad that is not the case now.
And now you've been able to be the author of your own destiny and the captain of your own ship. What does
Mm.
that feel like to be able to hold your own vision and to imagine the future that you want as opposed to what other people want for you?
Um, it's definitely amazing. It's something that I definitely do not take for granted at all. I think that's the reason why I worked so hard in school and, you know, in university, and why I work so hard now, and why these platforms are so valuable to me, because it's giving me the opportunity to be you know, like you said, the author of my own story. And that's why I take it, and I take it fully, and I'm not like, I'm not going to mess about with it, because it means so much to me, because I know there are so many people that would love this. I went back recently to Senegal to see my village, which has expanded now into a little town. um, and it's just so different, you know. I look at the girls that I grew up with, and you know, our lives couldn't be any different, you know. We've taken such different we've taken such different paths, because we, you know, some of them don't have a choice. So yeah, I am very, very grateful. I don't take this lightly at all. It's something that I value very much, so I'm very grateful.
It's so inspiring to hear a story like yours. And typically it's quite cliche when people say that, but as you said, you have to live in certain environments to understand it. And my mom came over to the UK in about the 1970s, so during the Windrush era, had to make her way
Yeah,
out here compared to a lot of people that stayed back home. And I'm not saying that we're not successful. We had to work to become successful. I would love to
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
what did you study at university, and how do you envision university adding towards your dream?
Well, I studied something that maybe my parents wouldn't be so kind of proud to brag about, but I studied theatre, which again was quite controversial in my family when I kind
Yeah.
of made the announcement that's what I'm going to be studying. But it genuinely is a passion, and you know, it's something that I want to pursue. I want to go into teaching drama in the future, and passing that on to young people and helping them kind of get into their passion and helping them get into the career that they want to get into via drama. So sorry, I completely forgot your question because I digressed.
No.
What was your
I
question
think you
again?
were
Sorry.
perfectly answering it. I was asking you that in terms of what did you study at university and how will it help you in terms of your goal for the future?
Oh, right, yeah. So yeah, I studied theatre, and I think theatre for me, it's more than just something that, you know, you get on stage and you do stuff. It helped me with my confidence because when I came here, when I was back home, I was very, very confident. I was very like boisterous and, you know, very outgoing. But then when I came to the UK, again, I had to adapt to a new culture, new people. I was seeing all types of different people. Just my immediate family anymore. As you can imagine, you're seeing different cultures. And then,
Yeah.
so for me, my confidence was like at an all-time low. And you ask any of my teachers, they'd be like, oh my goodness, Aminata's doing a competition. Aminata went to university to do theatre. Some of them would actually just be like shocked. So I think for me, it gave me the confidence to be like myself in some ways. I know that
Hmm.
sounds a little bit like, you know, cliche, but it really did. It gave me the chance to become a more confident person and to like embrace my little quirks as well. So it gave me that opportunity to just be like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. And I think it gives you that opportunity to be like, you know, be awkward or slightly unique with people going, all right, she did drama, so that explains, like, you know, that that's why she's like that. But
Yeah.
genuinely it helped, and I think I can see it now, especially with my job, which requires me to do a lot of presentations and work with young people. It definitely gives me the chance to just be like more confident and to use those skills, those transferable skills, now. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I can only imagine that, as you said, being in a drama slash theatre student, you have all the excuses in the world to almost, you know, be so different to people. Because I've done drama and I've done acting as well. And people are like,
Yeah.
why do you act that way? I'm like, well, I've been an acting drama student, you know, like you can't judge me for that.
Exactly. People just give you the pass of like, but like I feel like many of us want to play. Like we need to play as human
Yeah.
beings. I feel like we have the innate desire to play, but because we're like suppressed by like society's expectations to behave a certain way, to do things like this. And I just feel like drama gives you that free pass of like, I'm being myself, but you can call me weird if you want to. I'm just being me. This is what we need to be. So yeah.
No, I can imagine. And going on the topic of societal expectations, how do you feel society has expected you to behave?
I think, well, I feel like for me, because I come from almost like two different cultures. I obviously, I'm living in Britain, but then I have my culture and my family's culture and traditions. So I feel like in so many ways, sometimes I feel like I'm straddling both lanes of, I'm gonna be African British, and then I'm gonna be like, Senegalese as well. It's almost like trying to like hold those two cultures. I think it's in many ways. I think my culture has expected me to, well, again, go down the more traditional route, do something that isn't theatre, maybe something like law, doctor, something that my parents could be proud of. But as a woman, I think society does expect me to, as a Black woman as well, maybe not to be so open with my opinions about racism or, my opinions about, in terms of my culture, about women having the right to do certain things. So I think the expectations are hard to label because I feel like they're quite insidious, and they're like underlying sometimes. They're expectations that are unspoken, but they are there. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to name them unless I don't know, unless you're like living it every day. So I think it's quite hard to really kind of pinpoint them, but I know what they are when they occur, if that makes sense.
Because when we were speaking, you spoke about women of color being perceived in a certain kind of way, and that
Yeah.
sometimes with the European standard of beauty when we commonly think of Miss England. You know, we don't really see like a
Yeah.
diversity and a representation, and Black women are not always seen as the most beautiful in society.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose beauty is always subjective. So how do you believe that taking part in this competition will allow you to, I suppose, change the way we see beauty and the standards that we see beauty within?
I think it definitely allows us, like, you know, just like the Black Lives Matter movement, it happened at a time when everybody was frustrated, not just Black people. Sorry, I have a small child coming in, so bear with me.
That's okay.
Sorry, that's my nephew. He's just finished school.
Listen, it's okay. I love that. You're a family. Obviously, you support your family. That's so lovely.
Exactly. When I was talking about managing a negotiating space, that's exactly what I was
Well, he
talking
just wanted to come
about.
and say hello to his auntie.
He did. He was like, "Good afternoon." Honestly, he's cute. But,
That's good.
but anyway, back to what I was saying. Sorry.
Yeah, we're talking
I
about
think to
beauty
answer.
standards. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beauty standards. Like, I think I was talking about like the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement and how it came at a time when everybody was frustrated. Obviously, COVID has brought about a new kind of frustration,
Mm.
and then, you know, obviously what was happening in Minneapolis and in America in general, and
Yeah.
even in the UK, it just brought that anger to a boil, and it exploded, and we saw what we saw, and it, you know, it's amazing things happened as a result of that. And I think this was one of the amazing things that obviously happened as a result of it. Came around about the same time as the Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and it was
Mm.
really gaining a lot of traction. And so I think it gave us the opportunity to reform and to reform societies, I guess, ideas of beauty. You know, Black women were not perceived as beautiful in history. You just have to look at the history books. You just have to look at television and casting and the way we are portrayed. If it's a Black person, it's the lightest Black person. It's the Black person with the curly hair, or, like, you know, slightly European features, and that's the kind of Black people we tend to see.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, you know, dark skinned Black women. And so I think to kind of challenge that notion of Black women, but the darker skinned, all shades of Black are beautiful. And it's given us that opportunity to reform those ideas, or at least to try to reform those ideas, because I think it takes a long time to to strip back the biases that we have in our minds. It's not just about hosting a platform and a competition like this that will take away those notions.
Yes.
Absolutely not. It takes years, because that's been ingrained in our minds since birth. You know, it's been there with television adverts. It's been there with the movies that we watch. It's been there when we've gone to school, especially school. You know, with the curriculum, with the way it sort of teaches kids a whitewashed history. And so it's going to take more than a competition like this within Miss England, and it's going to take more than a Black person or Black woman to win Miss England for us to change our ideas of Black women's beauty standards, of Black women being a part of the beauty standards. And also not generational. Those are the things that don't get associated with us. We're angry, that's what we're told. We're sassy, that's what we're told. And we 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 don't speak sense. That's what we're told. I think this is definitely a great place to start, because this competition, and my sisters, they're so intelligent, like they have so, like, their careers and the degrees that they've done, you're just like blown away by how intelligent and how passionate and how compassionate they are as well, about the projects that they're wanting to do. And so it's just phenomenal. So I think it's a great place to start, and I do hope that one of us gets women into the finals, absolutely smash it, win an English Miss World, and represent England.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, you were frozen for a couple of seconds.
No, so I was going to ask you, because it's what I'm curious to know is, you came to the UK.
Oh, no.
Huh? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can hear you, Sean. Yeah.
oh, perfect. I was just curious to know that you came from one part of the world where I suppose everybody was black, and
Yeah.
I would love to know, what was the beauty standard in Senegal, because you've come to the UK, you've seen that black people are not, I suppose, represented on media, in these spaces perhaps where we have such a large contribution. So what was it like with the beauty standards back in Senegal, and what was representation like there? I suppose in some senses it must have been a representation and a massive culture shock.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, just to even like touch on the point, like, I genuinely did not know that there were other people of other skin shades, well, of other ethnicities, let's say, that were, I came from a village where it was basically just my family, my tribe. Coming to England, it was like, oh wow, there are people who have a similar shade to me, but they would be called Asians, and they have a different name, and we have white people. That's just crazy and amazing. Sorry, another sister. That's another family member.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone here can see you're a family orientated person, so it works in your favor.
Okay, amazing. So I think, sorry, I'm gonna have to close the door, otherwise we're never gonna get this done. Just give me 2 seconds, Sean.
Bang. So as you were saying.
As I was saying, so yeah, it was very different. But to answer your question again, it's like, there, even when you look at the people that are, on television, and on the billboards, and on the packets that you buy, like soap, or packets of cream, women who are basically advertising certain products, they are lighter skinned, they have straight hair. I didn't have straight hair. I didn't I it wasn't something that you saw, and I definitely that are represented, like, that are on on pictures, on adverts. They are still, the women that don't really
Cut out. No, 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 no. Hopefully we're going to be back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It just completely cut out.
So
Like,
sorry, but I don't even know what happened. It was just there 1 minute and then in the next it was gone.
it's
So
okay.
sorry.
That's usually the issue of technology. But as you were saying,
Goodness gracious, where was I? I think I was talking about, even like the people that you see advertised on television and advertising products, um, they don't, it has that European influence, and Senegal was colonized by France, so it still had that like influence of, it was a black lady with really really fair skin or lighter skinned with straight hair. So yeah, it was definitely, in comparison to what I see now, or what I've seen in the recent years, because I feel like now television is starting to become slightly more diverse, just because of, I feel like they are faced with a lot of the demands that came from the Black Lives Matter movement. So we're starting to see a bit of change. But yeah, it was you saw people who looked, I guess, like you, but still influenced by the European sort of culture. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's the answer you were expecting, but that's the honest answer.
no, no, I always want honesty. Honesty is the best policy compared to anything else. I think, it's great to be able to speak about the experience you have because it's unique. I don't get to speak to people that, for example, have been a refugee, they've come to the UK and they've got a completely different experience of what it means to be black, let alone to be a woman. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
Experiences are so different with people. And I know you spoke about an initiative called Beyond Borders, and I'd love for you to explain to myself and to everyone that's going to be watching more about that initiative and any other initiative that you also are in or you've started.
So yeah, as part of my Beauty with a Purpose for Miss All African Colours England, I started the initiative Beyond Borders, Beyond Race, and the whole idea behind that is for us to see. So it's designed for refugees and asylum seekers, which is, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But so the whole idea behind Beyond Borders and Beyond Race is, for us to see the humanness of the people that are trying to, be a part of our society, that are drowning at sea, that are stuck at borders trying to get here. It's for us to see that. And like I said before, I don't believe anybody leaves their country in hopes that they will get into another country simply because they felt like it. It has to be dire circumstances. And if you see the people that are crossing channels and seas to get here, it's out of desperation. It's not because they want to come here and just simply take our jobs and live off benefits and, take our our houses. It's absolutely not the case at all. And I think I am a I'm an example, and I am someone who has had a similar story, and that's why I don't think my story is unique at all. So beyond race is also to see beyond the person's skin color, to see the humanness of that person, and not to judge them by what they look like, but judge them for what their intentions are, and judge them
Yes.
for what's inside, and really getting to know that person. And I feel like there is a lot of xenophobia around, there is a lot of racism around, whether it's explicit or not, it's still around. And so I want us to see beyond all of those things, and that's what this initiative is all about. And so I've partnered up with a charity in Bolton who work with refugees and asylum seekers, and that's called the Destitution Project, and my initiative is partnered up in that. And so again, there we go. So my, my initiative is collaborating with them. And so if COVID wasn't here, it would have definitely been a chance for me to basically work with them and work with their young people, and to host workshops for them to make them feel more comfortable and to help them to integrate into the society that they now are a part of. But because obviously because of COVID, that initiative and well, the initiative is still there, but the workshop element and the meeting of groups isn't able to happen. So I've decided to fundraise for them, and I've pledged to raise £500 by the 5th of December. And if I do that, I'm going to be doing a 15k run in 2 hours and 500 squats in 45 minutes.
Wait, hold up. Because I've ran a 5k or a 10k before in about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
15k, that's a lot. That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm doing it with my sort of training buddy from the gym. He's like super buff, so shout out to you, Bizzo, if you're watching or listening to this. We're going to be smashing it, but I know that we can do it. I definitely think we can do it, so I'm looking forward to it. We train quite a lot, so I'm happy. And squats in under 500 squats in under 45 minutes, so
wow,
I'm hoping we can bash that out.
My legs would be toasty.
Yeah, do you know what? I think mine will be too, but it's worth it. If I can raise the £500 by then it's absolutely worth it. So that's one of my pledges. So I'm looking forward to it.
And how far are you away from the total that you need?
So currently, I've literally just hit £300 about an hour ago, so it's going really well. So I need about 200 more pounds. So I'm really grateful to anyone who has donated so far. Like, thank you. I love you guys so much.
And obviously after the interview, we're putting in all your details so people know where to come and donate. So that's the most important thing. Help you get to your goal and hopefully above it as well.
Yeah, that would honestly be so fantastic. Like, I'm just really so thankful, because I know it isn't easy right now. We're going through a recession. I know that employment and money isn't liquid, so not everybody is able to give the donations that they would have hoped to. So I appreciate any little I can get. So, but I'm just very thankful that they're donating to a charity that means so much to me. And the money does go towards food vouchers for the destitute asylum seekers, which means asylum seekers who have fallen out of government support because their claims have been refused. So they are now destitute and they don't have homes and they don't have the means to buy food, so they're relying on the Destitution Project to provide them food from their food banks, which is another pledge that I've made, which is to partner up with a supermarket. I think that will be Morrison's. We've had some few conversations to donate to the food banks there. And the other pledge was to donate 50 face masks, so for the service users there, and that's been done. So I'd like to thank anyone who's donated. My nephew's here now. It's okay. It's okay. Can I have this? Yeah, you can have that. Close the door.
Your nephew loves you. He just wants to be all around you.
Honestly, it happens whenever I'm doing a meeting for work, and I'm like, why? Why are you here at this time?
I absolutely love that. And I want to ask you one more question. This is my open-ended question that I ask to everyone. It's full of possibilities and it's endless. If you had a magic wand, what would you change about the world in which we live?
Oh my goodness. You know what? The funny thing is, the All African Colours have asked this already and it's on their Instagram. So I might just use my answer. And my answer was released yesterday. So amazing. You've asked the right question and it all links. It's something, again, that is linked to my past, and it's linked to something that I've been through, which is child poverty. And it breaks my heart when I am a big family person. I have a huge family, and I'm so grateful that we're in a situation where we do have the means to be able to eat every single day. But not every child in the world is able to have their 5 meals a day, or even a meal a day. And that genuinely breaks my heart. And I think it goes back to the time when I went back to Senegal, when I saw little kids on the streets. And I don't know if you've ever been to any like sort of third world country.
Well,
You'll
yeah,
see that.
Trinidad, where I'm from, is considered third world.
Okay, well, in Senegal, it breaks my heart because these little kids would carry like, you know, little pots of their little pots for people to give them food, and they'd go to different houses in the community to get food, and they're relying on the community to basically feed them. But there would be kids in the city that don't have, you know, that community to be able to feed them all the time, and I would change that. I would, not only in Senegal but everywhere in the world. I don't believe any child should ever leave this earth without that basic need being met. So that's something I would change. So yeah, that's definitely at the forefront of my mind. I do have other things, but yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
that's getting me emotional.
No, no,
uh,
definitely. I appreciate the fact you're being emotionally open as well.
yeah,
I massively appreciate that. It's
that's
definitely not
great.
easy. I think when we've both come from the worlds we've come from, and we've seen certain things. So like in Trinidad, I've seen children on the side of the road having to wash, like using public taps. I've seen so much people going around begging. And you know, coming to the UK, have such a different perspective on things. There's
No,
a newfound appreciation. There's a resolution. There's a vision that not many people can see in the way that you see it.
yeah, definitely. I think that's so true. I think just going back there and seeing that, you almost want to change it. You know, like I like definitely, like I sit sometimes with my mom when we just daydream about things that we could change. And it's like platforms like, you know, Miss World, Miss England, Miss Universe, where, you know, and Miss All African Colors, where you are able to change at least some parts in your community that you're
Yeah.
from, but also the community that you come from back home. And I think that's just amazing. And platforms, even though people perceive beauty pageants as all about the beauty element, but these women that are putting themselves out there are putting themselves out there with so much more than just their bodies. They're putting themselves out there with their intellect and with their compassion for the world, and they come to these competitions with the needs of their countries, and so they want to make a difference. And so I'm just glad to be a part of the sisterhood, to be honest, that are making that change happen.
Absolutely. And I think undoubtedly with the kind of personality you have and the things that you're doing, you're going to go on to achieve not just the pledges that you have set out, but a lot of the visions that you have generally carved. And I think
Mm.
whenever I talk to certain individuals, I always wonder, you know, what's their purpose, what's their motive. And that's why I created this podcast, to speak with all of you, someone like yourself and the rest of the contestants, to figure out and just to
Mhm.
show people that models aren't just models, or people in pageants aren't just pageants. People do so much more,
Mm.
so much more.
Absolutely.
So I've got to say thank you so much for giving me your time. But I want to leave you with I want you to tell people how
Yeah.
they can support you in what you're doing, and most importantly, what can they look forward to if you win the competition?
Amazing. Well, that's a huge question to ask. But yeah, thank you so much, Sean, for having me on. It's been a
Anytime.
pleasure talking to you. Like this has been the most chilled conversation ever. So appreciate you making me feel so comfortable. How people can support me is, first and foremost, if you wouldn't mind, if you want to donate to the cause that I was talking about, I have got a GoFundMe page, which I'm sure I'll send to page, not page. I will send to Sean when at the end of this. So if you want to support me in donating towards the destitution project, then please do so. But also on my Instagram as well, you can vote vote for me on the All African Colours competition, and the finals for that is the 12th of December. And so yeah, that would be a way of supporting me. And another thing, well, what people would look forward to if I do win this, um, you can look forward to me giving back to the community that I've come from, not just the refugee community, but the North as well. There is so much to be done here. There's so much stuff that I could accomplish, but I also want to work with charities abroad in Senegal to, you know, kind of find resolutions and solutions for some of these issues that I pointed out, like child poverty. Would love to solve that, but I'm always going to be advocating. I believe myself to be an activist for the Black community and the Black struggle. That's something that I'm always going to be talking about, and something that I hope that this platform can give me the chance to do so if I do win. But those are just some of the things that that I, you know, I want to do. I'm coming here with the right intentions, so hopefully everybody else will be able to see that.
Absolutely. I believe in this conversation, you've wore your heart on your sleeve, and I think your teeth are reflective of your future, bright.
Oh my word. Okay.
Honestly,
Okay.
like I'm looking at your teeth and I'm like, I need some teeth like that. But all jokes aside, no, definitely, I think the future you have is bright. And I think if you go on to win the competition, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic person that they would have given it to. So I've just got to say thank you. And send me all your links and I'll put them all through. Everyone donate to the GoFundMe. That's the most important thing, because issues like the ones you spoke about are very real. They're very relevant, and it's something that you've experienced. So thank you so much.
No, no, it's okay. Absolutely. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about it. I could probably talk about it all day, all night. So I'm glad that it's short. It's cut in 45 minutes.
Thank you so much, honestly. And what I'll do, we'll keep in contact, and I'm looking forward to seeing how your future pans out.
Amazing. Thank you, Sean.
Take care.